Breaking news, Hulk Hogan dead at age 71, one of the biggest legends in the history of pro wrestling. Kent Brown and Gene Chery here with you, reacting live. We just heard about this moments ago. So, Gene, when you heard it, what was your gut reaction? How'd you feel?
My reaction was, wow. You know, anytime a superstar of that magnitude passes away, the world of pro wrestling just stops. And Hulk Hogan was arguably the biggest star in the history of pro wrestling. And as fans who watch the show on a weekly basis, who are invested into it, when you see guys like John Cena, when you see guys like The Rock, Stone Cold, Roman Reigns, these guys do not get mentioned in the same light if it were not for Hulk Hogan. This is a man alongside Vince McMahon who brought sports entertainment to pop culture. He was a star amongst stars. And yes, we could take time to talk about all the controversy that he's done since his retirement. We're not here to talk about that. There's going to be other people who can bring that up. I don't want to talk about that right now. I just want to talk about, as a fan of pro wrestling, this is a man who made this sport something special. And for that, he deserves his homage and his respect.
Yeah, and you look at it in terms of a wrestling sense, wrestling was regional. It was definitely something that was more like carnival, niche, and then Hulk Hogan blew it up. Him and Vince McMahon, WrestleMania, he headlined most of the first 10 WrestleManias, and then he revitalized himself, went to WCW, the NWO became the biggest thing. He turned heel, revitalized another company with WCW, and the memories were there for 20 plus years. Yes, very complicated relationship the past several years, in and out of WWE, controversies, out of the squared circle for sure. But like you said, Gene, and you said it perfectly, John Cena, The Rock, Stone Cold, all of those guys fell, with the footsteps of what Hulk Hogan built with the WWF, along with Vince McMahon, another guy who has a lot of controversies and will have an interesting sort of, foothold in this pro wrestling world. But when you look at Hulk Hogan, you have to start saying it was the entertainment side of things. He took it from people show up, they buy their tickets, they see a Bruno Sammartino style of wrestler that beats up another guy, and then you go home and that's it. Hulk Hogan was on Rocky III with Sylvester Stallone. He was a movie star for a little while in the 80s and 90s, way before The Rock and John Cena and Batista and guys like that made it big in that world. And then again, when you think of pro wrestling, you think of Hulk Hogan first. A lot of people, if you bring up wrestling, they go, what, like the Hulk Hogan type wrestling? That's kind of how it was described for a long time. My childhood, there was almost never a main event for 10 years that didn't have Hulk Hogan as the featured player, whether it was WWF or WCW. And it's good to see that Hulk Hogan in the last couple of years had a better relationship with WWE, whether it was not necessarily what it used to be, but at least you started seeing him back there, as you said, that Monday Night Raw. He was there promoting the beer that, didn't necessarily go well with him and Jimmy Hart in the moment, but it's always good to see a legend come back and be part of this whole wrestling world, because at the end of the day, it's a big show. You show up to WrestleMania, we have SummerSlam in less than 2 weeks. Hulk Hogan is the one that really got them to that point and turned it into 70,000 people in an arena or a stadium, millions of people ordering on pay-per-view, the spectacle of the sport that we love so much of pro wrestling. Hulk Hogan, as you said, you can't build a Mount Rushmore without Hulk Hogan being part of it. And so for him to pass away at 71, pro wrestling's wild. We've had wrestlers that died in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s. He's outlasted a lot of them. But when you think about Hulk Hogan, you can't think about pro wrestling without the yellow and the red and the big boot and the leg drop and Jimmy Hart and all the WrestleMania main events that he had. Macho Man in WrestleMania 4, Andre the Giant in WrestleMania 3, NWO spray painting that belt, being in the ring in Daytona Beach with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. He's going to go down as one of the biggest legends, if not the biggest ever. And it's a sad day for the world of pro wrestling to have Hulk Hogan no longer be part of this.